Here we are. That's a squeaky chair. Best not move around that much because that chair, although is going to squeak. No, it's not going to squeak. Stop squeaking. Make me look like an idiot. How's it going, everybody? Here we are in the workshop. I don't know what day of self-isolation, quarantine, lockdown we're on, but it's just that thing of continually trying to find things to do. If you're like me and you're always doing something, you've always got to be having a project or out of the house or being creative, whatever it may be. It's getting increasingly harder and harder. Or what you might be finding, I'm finding, is you're coming to more dead ends than you usually do. Any project that you do, you reach dead ends. We've got a load of boxes here, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, because what we're going to be doing next, what I'm going to be doing next. But anytime you usually come across a project, you start doing something and you get so far down and you're like, oh, I need to order something from Amazon. I need to get that, I need to order that offline or whatever it may be. And then you've got to wait like a week or a few days or until that part comes, and then the next opportunity to get out and fix or do whatever it is you're doing. But with everything being on lockdown, we're really limited on what we can order, and a lot of the online retailers like Amazon and stuff, they're prioritizing what you can buy, and quite rightly so. I mean, if you've got people that want essentials, they should be first right now. It doesn't matter whether you've got Amazon Prime or whatever. You're going to have to wait a week for your few bits that you've ordered. I ordered a lawnmower from Screwfix the other day. Usually that would be click and collect. Usually that would be there next day, maybe even same day. I've had to wait 3 days, so that's just life at the minute. So today, I don't know why I'm so tired today. I know I'm tired. Actually, I took the dog for a walk yesterday and it was a killer. I did like 5 miles, absolutely knackered. So today, the plan is I'm going to work on the new camper van, the LT35 that I bought towards the back end of last year. You may have seen some videos from me on here of my T25. I've still got that. That had a new engine. We've still got some problems with it. Basically, yeah, after the third engine swap, I decided to go. I'm going full Scooby conversion. That was all planned. We were looking to buy a Scooby. We're still doing that. We're going through all those motions. That's all in the pipeline. But the plan was at the beginning of, or the end of last summer, beginning of winter, the T25 was going to be moved around here to where my workshop is, to my unit. At the back, out the back there is a yard with another unit downstairs. So that's where I was going to work on that, where it's got a nice hard surface. I've got a bit of a unit I can pull it into and work on, much more space, and basically it's just more appropriate than the stone driveway that I got, that I hate working on. That stone driveway, it's just a nightmare. It's so uninspiring. It's completely impossible to get any motivation, and plus obviously my whole workshop's here, so you're always going, oh, I need to go and get that tool from the workshop, or I need to go around the corner. I know it's only like 4-minute walk from door to door, but the truth is, if it's here, that's the best thing for it. And I could strip it down. Obviously, if I'm going to Scooby it, I've got to uprate the brakes. We're going to put Porsche brakes on it. We're going to completely renovate the underneath of it. It's all being done. But then what happened is just before Christmas, or just before about October, November last year, the landlord that owns this building, my commercial premises, very nice of him, decided he was going to put scaffolding up and do the rendering, which fair enough, it's his building, he's got to look after it, and we're quite happy he looks after it, makes it look good for my customers. But he only gave us 2 weeks notice, so it annoyed some of the guys out the back because they had cars. One of them's got a nice Scooby that he's doing as a track car and stuff. Basically, when the scaffolding went up, that completely stopped all access to the rear yard area. Imagine if the scaffolding down the side of the building, cars and stuff got moved across, basically becoming unaccessible. Nobody can get in the rear yard. I can't reverse even the work van up, so we can't have the lads dropping off extinguishers and doing all the normal work stuff. And then what happened is halfway into the rendering, they decided that the roof needed replacing, so they've started completely gutting and replacing the roof. Then once they stripped the roof, one of them had an accident. The main roofer fell off some scaffolding somewhere, bust his arm or something, I don't know. you just think it's got to be bullshit, but apparently it's not. So then that was, I think that was what might have been just after Christmas, around January time. Here we are, March 29th, clocks have just gone forward. We would have been in full swing, race season on the bikes, camping season, getting stuff sorted, and as it is, none of that's been done. So what I did is, the decision because I was going to take the T25 off the road, I made the decision to buy another camper. It was race season, I wanted a bit of a race truck. Without Lily starting to do BMX racing and following in my footsteps with the bikes. And plus also the wife was nagging at me and moaning at me, not women alike, constantly sort of giving me jip, saying I just want something to go away and I just want to be able to go camping, I just want to be able to do this, which is fair enough. To be fair, you know, the thing was has been off the road more than it has. We've had a good couple of seasons out of it, but it's not, well, you know, it's like these classic old vehicles. So I bought an LT35, and this is my little book. Whenever I do a big project like the camper or something, I have these little black books. I use them at work a lot. They're like journals, and I just put everything in them. So I've got the LT35, bought that. That's up and running. Done a lot of repair work on it. Got it up on the road. That's all fine. And we're using it. It's got an interior in it. It's got a cooker in it. It's got a toilet in it. It's got a bed in it. Leisure battery. It's even got a wood burning stove. So it's really amazing. Hopefully, as I'm talking about this, there'll be some footage of all those things in the camper. But what I do, just to give you some interesting insight, I always start on these books. I have drawings and bits that I printed out. So this is some CAD work that I did when I was planning out how I want it to be inside. So this is kind of like end goal, what you're working towards. So everything you do, you're kind of bearing in mind what your end goal is. I've got printouts from eBay for swivel plates and stuff like that. So anything of interest, you think, oh, I want that. And then what I tend to do is I just list everything. I've got designs in here for how I want the bed to be in, dimensions and measurements. So it's just one of those things that whenever you go back to it, you're not trying to think, oh, what's the list thing to do? With the old T25, I used to list everything on the fridge in the garage and stuff like that. But it's just a good place. I mean, at the front, what I tend to do, in one of these books, I put at the front all the new things that I want to do. So, for example, solar panels, I need to advertise that. I put large sliders, so I put solar panels. I've listed different things like Victron charger, which is the charger with the app, which is cool stuff. Touch spotlights. These are all new stuff. Underfloor tanks. I want to put underfloor water tanks in at the moment. It's inside. They're all new things and like modifications I want to do. At the back, this is a list of repairs. So what you find is the mechanical stuff. There's stuff straight away, things like bonnet release, drive belt cover, tension pulleys. These are all things that squeak. High pressure pump, main battery needs to be checked. Glow plugs. These have all been done since. Driver's seat belt still a bit iffy. It works, it clicks in, but it doesn't retract very well. Wiper blades, I've ordered them. They're up there. Need to do that. And so yeah, these are like repairs, like mechanical repairs that you would do to a normal vehicle every day. And I'll put them at the back because they're kind of like, I kind of segregate them. So there's the stuff that you do to the interior, the stuff that you do to like modify it and change it and just make life better. And then these are the sort of crucial maintenance repair jobs. And I put them at the back and dates when I've ordered stuff. So if I've ordered something, then I know that I've ordered it and it's here and stuff like that. Bleed brakes, lights in grill, a question mark, rubbish bin. And to be fair, I can tick a lot of these off. There's a few of these we can do today actually. I just saw the, what was it? Wiper blades. So we can do wiper blades. So we're going to do some work on the van today. That's the whole point of this video. And then in here is a general list of, so I've got list continued, and I think like stupid spice rack. Here's a general list. Skylight above bed, and there's just general sort of, yeah, these are the sort of things. What you find is, like I put here, condensation on roof screws, condensation on rear doors, and then toiletry storage, draining board solution. These are all things that I've seen, I've decided, and I've bought, and they're on the shelf here in the workshop to be putted or fitted or whatever. And basically what you find is I keep this in the van, and when you're using it, you'll come across something and you'll think, oh, really cool, I've had a little light under there. So at night, because, you know, or when I get up to go to the toilet at night, it'd be cool if, you know, like, that was a perfect example, actually. Got up, go to the toilet, Lily was asleep, went to the toilet, wanted to get a glass of water, I think take a headache tablet, and then realised you can only turn like main lights on. So I was like turning the bathroom, the little toilet light on, which was enough, but I thought, cool, well I could do with like a little strip light or a little spotlight that just goes across the cooker area or just the kitchen area. But it's just nice and dull that if you get up in the middle of the night, you can turn the light on, you can get something to eat, you can have a glass of water, whatever it may be, and you're not disturbing anybody else that's sleeping. So little things like that you come across. The sink needs resealing. So yeah, so there's some of these jobs that we could do with doing today. So that's kind of gives you an idea of what I do. So what I've bought, what a main job I was going to do today, I want to work towards. I bought quite a lot actually. Looking through that list, I've just realised there's a load more stuff here. So there's stuff like that sink can be sealed. But what I was mainly do, I've got LED light bars that I originally bought to fit. Well, now the clocks have gone forward. I doubt I'm going to use them that much over the summer. But the main thing is I thought we will get the van up and running. Start it. Hasn't started for a couple of weeks, so let's start it, let's pull it out, give it a bit of a tick over and run, because it's always useful to do that, give it a general check, water, oil, that sort of thing, and then possibly start looking at doing these light bars. I'll probably hopefully cut to an image of the light bar, because they're all in boxes at the minute, I'm not going to get them out. They come with like a cool loom that's got a switch on them, but what I've got here is some switches that I bought, and I don't know if you can see that. It says rear roof light, interior light. These are all pretty cool, good quality switches. Side marker lights. I've got a load of side markers, I forgot about them. I've got a big box of side markers somewhere. There we are. Front door, front roof light, and running light. And in the interior now, I'll hopefully stick to a video there, there's some lights that were already installed by the previous owner that kind of like light up some LEDs in the back. There's like 4 switches, and I think we can only work out what one of them do. They all turn on, they've all got power to the switches, but we have no idea what half of them do. So I think I'm going to replace these switches, those switches, with these ones, because they're neater and they look better, they're better quality, and they've actually got what they do on there. But I'm not sure how neat that's going to be. What I think I'm going to have to do is make a plate up, put those on it and cover the dash with the plate. We'll kind of cross that bridge when we come to it. We'll have a look at maybe mounting some of these LED bars. I've got 2 LED bars. I've got a big one for the front, and I also got a little one. It's still quite big. It's a smaller one for the back, which I thought would be really cool as a reversing light. Because one of these things with these campers, the one that I do in it, obviously this sort of thing, I'm going off into sort of the middle of nowhere, riding my bike and stuff like that. And when it's dark and you sort of get to places late at night and you're trying to reverse up into a space or anything, you just can't see out of a normal van. It's restricted view as it is, so you want as much light as possible. I've also got these are new side door rollers. I've got a brand new door around the corner that I managed to pick up. I say brand new, it's a second-hand one, but it's mint condition, it's absolutely solid. Sliding door, and what I'm going to do is, the door that I've got has got a bit of a dent on it, but I'm going to put a window in that door, so I need to order a window. What I think the best thing to do is do the window up here and everything in the workshop while the door's laying flat. I can cut it all out and do that. It's probably going to be the easiest way to do that. And then once I've done that, put that on. That's probably going to be a 2-man job, so that's probably not something we can do while we're in isolation. But yeah, that's generally the gist. If we're going to go out there, have a look, work through some of the things in this list, do a few jobs to the camper, and go from there, see what problems we find sorting out electrics. So let's get out there. Whoa. Right, here we are inside. So I thought the first job and the easiest job to do is silicone the sink, because that can be dry and I can put a weight on it, and then yeah, silicone it, put a weight on that, and that can be set in then whilst I'm doing the other jobs. So that's the first thing, the job to do. These are little jobs that I had to do. Basically, as you can see, what I've discovered from camping in it, like all my little sink sponges, washing up stuff, just gets chucked in and there's no real place for it to go. I've got no draining board, so I bought this draining board because it's got like an edge to it. So the plan is that kind of sits on there. I don't think I'm gonna like adhese that to there, I'm just gonna store that, and then that's kind of like a cool thing to have, so I can just put that in the drawer down there. And then this is just supposed to go above. I don't know what, I'm going to figure out how to fix that at a later date as well. So those can go into storage for now. So the main job to do now is this sink. back on a sec. There we go.
A few moments later.
So that's a lot of silicone taken out, but now it's nice and smooth. So we've got a nice level surface, clean surface, sort of to set the sink back onto and reseal it. My silicone gun, because it's on its last legs. The silicone seemed very thin. I don't know whether it's been sat on my shelf for a while, so I'm hoping it's all right. That's the problem being lockdown. You're just kind of doing jobs where you've got all the materials usually on your shelf, you know, and you've always got, well, I've always got, like, usually got a tub of grab adhesive or silicone or something on the shelf, but the silicone gun's playing up, and that's like, A, it's a Sunday, and B, we're on lockdown, so it's not like I can just nip to screw fix and pick myself up a new gun. I'll have to get one online.
A few moments later.
It's got a couple of house bricks here, which I'm going to place in just to keep it under some load. And then whilst that's there, yep, just going to give everything a wipe and clean off all the access where I've inevitably caught it. There we go. And I'm just going to leave that, I'll probably leave that overnight like that, and let it set really well. Yeah, so that's everything done in here. There's nothing left to do. The sink has been sealed, so what we need to do now is go into the cab and check the electrics and mess about in there. Whee! Right, here we are in the cab. So what I've got are these switches, which I showed before. I'll grab you and have a look. Got these switches here. As you see, they're all wonky. They're on like this plate here, and those new switches are going to go there, which will be the light bar, side repeater lights, side repeater lights, not side repeater lights. Yeah, what will they be? They'll be light bar, daytime running lights, side marker lights. That's what I was looking for, and a few other bits and bobs. I think with this, we've got to just, I think the first thing to do is to disconnect all the LEDs that are in the grill. These horrible LEDs in the grill that these operate, or at least one of these switches operate. A couple of these switches, I've no idea what we do. We've not been able to find out. This is something that were installed by the previous owner. But I think the first thing to do is to disconnect all those LEDs, because the wiring's terrible. There's just lots of little wires everywhere. I'll probably try and show you in the bonnet in a minute. And they're just going to cause a bad earth or an electrical fault or something at some point. So strip all those out. Have a look at these switches. This is definitely we're probably not going to get this job finished or completed today. But we can get the electrical tester out and maybe just start to try and figure out if these switches do operate something else and where they go, if there's something hidden. Right, I've swapped to the GoPro, so apologies for the sound if it's got a bit worse, but obviously it's far too tight in here to be filming without. So, situation update. I've managed to loosen this off and pull it out. I've decided it's far too much of a wrestle to get the whole thing out, but we can access behind and get to where all these wires are fed. So you can see they've actually cut out a bit of the trim here to fit this little box in there, which is part of the LED setup. So I'm just trying to figure out exactly where the live comes in. Must be one of these is alive, I don't know, but we'll sort of try and figure out what's what and where it goes. Obviously some of these wires at some point come up to these switches as well, because they work in tandem with each other.
A few moments later.
Right, Took this panel off, so things are starting to get a bit interesting. This actually looks quite neat and tidy, all colour coordinated and everything. So these 3 switches we'll come back to in a second. I think I've discovered these 2 wires here look to be sort of similar to the style that's going on down here. So I'll trace these back. Yeah, plus also when I pull that, that pulls that down there. So they obviously, if we could do that, see that, I don't know. So they obviously, that's the reason why when you switch that on, it controls this down here. And then these look like to be lives coming in from somewhere. So I'm going to get a tester on those, test them to make sure they're lives, and then we've got to figure out where they go to, because when you switch these on, can we put the key on? Let me just do that. There you go. As you can see, when we switch these on, they light up, so there is live going to them, but I have no idea what they control. Right, so just to took the radio out, just get me a bit more access behind here. I've tested these. The blues are actually live. I've tested them. The blues are actually shown as live. These are shown as earth. I can't get these out down here, and it looks like, I think these 4 brown ones that go into this red cable, I'm making an educated guess is this. This is very typical sort of like older vehicle wiring, where you follow this down, it goes to a female connector that's again got like a smaller gauge wire coming off it going somewhere. These are just bits of wires with nothing going nowhere. With male connectors, there was 2 of those. They were all sort of behind the trim here and behind the back down here. Typical sort of scenario for a vehicle that's older. You're dealing with years and years of people messing about with it. I've just started. It's the usual fun and games that you get. So there's a bit of trim that goes along here. Took that off because I can't see where these lives are coming from. I'm assuming, well, I've got to guess they're probably maybe coming off they're switched or fused into this somehow. And I don't know where these ones going to low, these sort of earth ones are going somewhere. So yeah, it's a bit of a strange one. I'm just trying to get, I can see blue wires actually through there. I can just about see them. So yeah, I'm just in the process of sort of trying to get this off or out or whatever, and seeing if I can get behind it, just see where these lives are coming from, and then sort of trace back where these go to. If they do all go into this one and then down there, we're just going to kind of figure out what that is. It looks like it might just all be a road to nowhere, but then the whole idea would be I'll get them all removed, clean it all up, and then that little panel, this panel here, it's quite neat actually. I'm going to see if we can reuse that for the switches that we're going to put in to operate everything else. I'll just put the switches in for time being, and we'll kind of figure it out from there and work out how we're going to wire up. So let's try and get this fuse box off today. It's obviously getting a bit late in the day now, so I'm not sure how much I'm going to get more done. This obviously isn't going to be a 1-day job or a 2-day job. It's going to be a bit of problem solving and head scratching and trying to figure it out. But once we've got these bits done, we can fix the light bars on and stuff like that. That's the next idea. One of the positives it has done in terms of electrics, this is the connector for the 12-volt cigarette lighter. That's all working fine now. It's just loose, so I've got that working. So I've got 12-volt power in the front of the cab. I've got, I think, upstairs or in the workshop, I've got in my box of goodies and bits and bobs over the years, stuff I buy, I think I've got those panels which has got a 12-volt like cigarette lighter style, USBs and a voltmeter. So what I'm thinking is I might see if I can fix that on the panel around here somewhere, and then that covers up that sort of cut-out section that they used on the controller thing, on this controller thing, and that hides that, makes it look tidy. and gives me another use for something. So right, we'll continue. Right then, as you can see, massive piece of trim has been taken out down here. So I took out that whole section, managed to bring the wires down. This red wire actually goes into the back of the fuse board. Let me just grab this. So I took, so the issue I have, this is my fuse panel. There's a bolt up here, that one in the centre of the screen there. When I turn it, it's just spinning round, and basically there must be like a nut on the other end of it. I can kind of see it when I got the torch at the crack. I can kind of see it through the crack of the plastic, and it's just spinning round with it. And I think that's the release for the whole that fuse board to come out, so you can get to the terminals at the back of the fuse board, to where the wires and all the circuitry for that. I couldn't not been able to get that out. What I had to do is unclip the front of the fuse board. That means all the fuses have to come out. So if you can see them in there, just pull this out a second. So all the fuses for the whole of the van have come out. So before I did that, I made sure I took a picture of that panel. So this panel here, took a picture of this panel, that way up I think it is, yeah. And then see these little clips, at the bottom and at the side, they all just unclip and the whole panel comes off. But as soon as you pull it off, it'll pull the fuses off with it. So I took a picture of the fuses. So if you're ever doing that, make sure you take a picture, and then you can just see where all the fuses, what they are. I mean, they're all pretty much the same size fuse anyway, but it's just useful to have that picture as a reference. It's always good to take pictures of everything you're doing as you're doing it. If you're unsure, making sure you can follow your steps back. So now, obviously, as I said, the light's getting a bit dark. This is behind the fuse board, so you can actually see like all the copper buzz bars. These are the fuse terminals that you plug into. But what I want is this whole section, this whole big module to come away, because all these wires, I wonder if I can see if I can get the torch on it and show you. I don't know if you can see behind there. All these wires are coming from the back of this module, and I can't see them going anywhere else. So for now, I think that's all we can do today. Like I say, running out of daylight, running out of space, running out of patience. And what I'm going to do is going to nip upstairs with the panel that we took off and have a play with the switches. So yeah, let's go upstairs. Right, back in the office, into the warm. Oh, ran out of daylight of it there. So I knew we wouldn't get, obviously there's lights fitted today, but we made a start on the electrics. There's quite a lot to sort out with going through all the electrics and everything and sorting it all out. I don't want to just sort of bolt those lights on, find a live, find an earth, and just whack them on and have them working. It'd be great. It's kind of what happens to, if you've ever worked in old vehicles, it's pretty much standard practice. And by old, I mean anything over 10 years really. People put stereos in, people add things, lights, LEDs, modify them, and they're constantly adding to the electrics. And what they do is the old wiring or bits of wires they find, stuff like that there where I was pulling stuff out, it all just ends up getting tucked behind in the dash. They test it, oh, it's not live, or it's not going anywhere, it doesn't seem to be, or they put a bit of tape over the end. And I just don't like to do it that way. I like to do it properly. When I sort of strip it apart, I want to take everything out. Any wires that I don't know what they are, I'm going to find out what they are, where they go to, if they go into a fuse, what that fuse is for, does it attach to anything else, and just stuff like that really. So it does make the job a lot longer, but if a job's worth doing, it's worth doing right. So yeah, right, so that's, like I say, as much as we've done today. It's getting really cold. It was really warm the other day, it's gone really cold again. So I've just got the panel, this is the panel. What I might do, I've got an idea. I'm going to see if I can order one of these online, eBay or whatever, Amazon or wherever, get one delivered. I'm hoping, I'd imagine they're not too expensive, and what I'm thinking is if they're quite cheap, I can have one as a bit of a template, or as a bit of a trial run, or I can try a couple of different options. If these are only like £5–10 or a few quid, I'd buy another couple, and then I can just, how many switches have I got? I've got 5 switches in total, but I remember thinking I got 1 extra switch that I didn't need. Realistically, I could front roof light, interior light I could probably get away with, rear roof light, running light, side marker lights. I could probably get away with that. That said, there is a space for all 5, I think there is space for all 5. So I think I'll go and have a look on eBay later. I'll see if I can purchase another one of these panels, or a couple more of these panels. I mean, look at that. I mean, it's just not even straight. I mean, you probably can't see it on the camera, but like that's higher than that one. Like, why don't you just like measure the centre line, measure the centre of that, mark it, cross, tap, you know, countersink, tap, like punch. Get a tiny drill, first hole, larger drill, get them centre, get them straight. Just, I hate it when things aren't done right. Maybe I'm just a fussy bastard, I'm OCD or something, but it just annoys me. Right, so if I can't get another panel or decide these are going to fit, I mean, that's going to be close, isn't it? That's going to be really close. What I might do is get a bit of like carbon fibre, bit of aluminium, bit of plastic, whatever I can get, and attach it to that so it just sits proud, and then put them in that and make myself like a bit of an instrument panel up. Instrument panel, that's what I meant to say. Be nice in a bit of like alley maybe, but it's got to be in keeping with the rest of the van. That'd be nice. It could work. We shall see. All right, look at that. Fucking skulls. Like, it's like whoever done it is steadily gotten higher. I imagine it that way down. Yeah, they got it, like they did that one, then got higher, then managed to get that one pretty level, but then went higher again. Oh, I don't know. At least, I mean, it's all right, I suppose. They've worked. I'm really unsure what the other switches were for. It looks like they just go to nothing. Like maybe they were put in. But it doesn't make sense where the load's going. We'll get to the bottom of it. Well, so we can try and get that panel off. I've got to strip more trim off. So basically next time, I've got to get more trim from the steering wheel off, try and get a bit more of that steering column off to get behind the fuse board, see if we can get that off, to see where those wires go to, see if the lives just go in anywhere. If not, I can get rid of the lives. More importantly, I want to see where the load wires go to, so where they're actually sending live to, so those earth wires as I call them. And then yeah, we'll see if we can get one of these panels. The sink should be sealed. The sink wasn't great either, but I did the best with, considering I didn't fit the sink initially. I'm just kind of like patching up other people's bodges and other people's works with a bit with this. But then you get that when you buy another vehicle. Eventually, all that's going to be stripped out and redone. But yeah, that's it for now. If you like these sorts of videos, give it a big thumbs up. And if you want to see more, subscribe. And until next time, see you later. Take care. Bye.